Alright, so we've got this question now, yeah? Alright. I think I can't really read it, but I'm going to say, how did the other members of the family feel about the situation? Even though the out don't really matter.
You mean like our family, like mum?
Yeah, mum and dad. Yeah, mum and dad's parent, like aunties, uncle, whatever it is, the cousins, whatever. How did they?
All close friends.
Have members? Yeah, members of the
Did
film.
they have like a strong opinion?
I feel like my mum didn't really mind. Like she liked Jamal. Like she liked him. Like from she met him, she didn't really have no type of any ill feelings or anything.
Come on now.
And my mum probably loves him still. Like it's a bit annoying.
Yeah.
My dad, was surprisingly like he loves Jamal. Like rest in peace, innit? But he absolutely like doted on Jamal. Like doted. Like I remember like the first time like taking Jamal to go and meet him and stuff. And then times he was sick, but he was in his garden. I'm like, Dad, why are you in your garden? You're sick. Yeah. He's like, oh, just in case I didn't like your friend. Like. And then he was like, oh yeah, you look, come in. And like he just loved him. Like anytime I speak to him, be like, oh, how's Jamal? And like, I remember like telling him I was pregnant and stuff, and he was like, oh, thank you guys for saving my legacy. Like, Like he just loved him. Like he just. And I'm like, what is it? Because he's a Rasta man, why you love him, Dad? Like he's like, yeah, but I just love him. And like my uncles, like all the men in my family are super protective of it. Like my uncles and that loved him. Like everyone just loved him. Like a couple of friends was like, oh, but he's got bare kids. Oh, what? And now to this day they love him. Like you know who you were, innit? But now to this day they love him.
Out. You know like that.
He's
Call
the
them out,
bro.
man.
Do you know what I mean? Like so yeah, like everyone loved him. Everyone loved him still.
What about Shaq? Did they love Shaq? Not the same.
Yeah. No, it's the same.
Why you got that queen look? Yeah.
No, they showed me that. I mean, like your siblings got a good one. Your siblings,
they're just glad that I'm settled down. You know what I mean? I'm
okay.
I'm happy. I'm balanced. Like my big brother, every now and again, he'll come link me and he'll just be like, you just stand there in the corner.
Done it, my child.
You just look around. You know what I mean? I'll just be like, and when my sister will tell me. Like my sister's the one that used to hold me in the headlock and just fix up, man. My mum would talk me up about something.
She's that gangster one, innit? She's the one that moves gangster for no reason.
Yeah, your siblings always showed me bare love.
But yeah, there's been. I think Owen might have run up on the house one day or whatever, and I was out doing something and.
Yeah, like the first day I met his brother, he had gone out and his brother came. So it was me and his brother in the house, and he was just kind of like. So what are you about? Yeah, what you do for a living? Like he was like grilling me a bit still, and then after he was like, okay, you're alright, okay. But no, I got a lot of love for your brother still. I got a lot of love for him.
My auntie seems to text to us still.
Yeah, I got a lot of love for your aunties. Yeah, no problem. Oh man, I like your family, man. Like,
I hope my mum get along.
Yeah, I love your mum.
No, that's calm, man. That's calm. No, I think I got the same. Yeah, my family's receptive. I got a massive family, but my family just Jerry Springer like. But I love them.
Jerry Springer like, you know.
Did you see Jerry Springer come out the other day and said he ruined society?
Yeah, he said
Finally, he said,
he feels bad. I know he does.
I'm going to hell or something like that. But
yeah, he must do. He must do because he just took it to the next level. He was sold him so long time. He knew what he was doing. He said, I didn't realise it got be that.
Ratchet.
I don't even know if Jerry Springer knows something to sell, man. Yeah, chat.
But your mum, dad, siblings.
It's a funny one because at the end of the day, my family's my family. There's just, but they're receptive. It's the kind of thing of there's family that she hasn't met yet. There's bare family. I mean that she hasn't met, but I've made a choice that I'm not connected to them at the moment, or I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. But at the same time, at the moment, I'm happy with what I've got around me in terms of immediate family.
What you class as your unit.
Yeah, but there is a big by the time she'll meet them. But at the same time, at the moment, it's kind of thing of you can just see on the internet now. Joking, I don't meet them.
But you see that, yeah? When I was a younger dad, my brother come to the crib one time when before we used to together, I was with my PM, and I was talking about something about saving the community or something. This theme, and he's like, "Listen, bro, I love your ambitions. It's great. But your only responsibility is to you and those kids in that room and your missus, yeah? Beyond that, if you can, you got extra, you can help people do that. But your thing is to mind you and yours." And I'm like, yeah, but community and we got to do this and da-da-da-da-da. And it took me...
What's wrong with you? Calm down.
It took me about 4 or 5 years to kind of get my head around it. But like,
Is that the same brother that?
Yeah. I got enough bros, but one blood brother. Yeah.
Okay, is he settled down?
Yeah. And he's just like, listen, focus on the thing.
Yeah.
And I spent a long time, like I said, focusing on everything else to realise that the only thing so big up the family and the wider family, and I love them all, but ultimately my responsibility is to heal.
What's behind closed doors?
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
What about Max? Your family or Max?
Yeah, no, my family. I can't think of like my mum. The first time she met him, I think I was picking her. She was going out or away or something. So like, I had to drive. We drove to hers, so she could drive to, let's say, the coach station, so I could take her car
back.
And
Right.
yeah, so it was that kind of situation. But at that time, I don't think we were like official, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But and like she said to me, she's like, oh, like she didn't call with him or whatever. Like, obviously, my mum's, I mean, polite and friendly. But then when I got into her car with just me and her, she's like, oh, it's not really your type, though, is he? He's like, how is he dressed? And whatnot.
How is he dressed, man?
Like, I don't know, like, if he had baggy jeans or trousers, I don't know what he had, but I think it was work clothes, to be fair.
Okay.
And I said, he's in his work. Yeah, I'm sure I said something like that. Like, he's in his work clothes, mum. I'm like, yeah, but like.
So one second. So what was your typical tactic?
I don't know, but I don't like all that tight business because.
Okay, it's just who you like. That it's just who you like.
So Max come and broke the mold, yeah?
Yeah,
So
well,
that's your type,
like,
man, what?
he's shorter.
Okay.
I think, and
Go and find Skype. Let's go and go.
and just no, I don't know.
Dark skin.
But it's not that I do like dark skin, but yeah, most of the exes worth mentioning are brown skin.
Okay.
But,
The dark skin man coming and take over, yeah?
but yeah, and I said, oh well, I feel like I found my home. That's what I said to my mum. And then, but yeah, him and my mum was like mother and son.
Yeah.
He probably speaks to my mum more often than I do.
Yeah.
In all fairness, like she's found although she does have a son, her and my brother don't talk. My brother's a little bit not distant, but he's just in his own.
Like he's self to himself.
Yeah. Whereas obviously, I was about to say Terrence, Max is very just warm and open and what have you. He's complete opposite to my brother. So I feel like my mum's just got that son.
Yeah.
And all, like both my dads, my biological and my stepdads, I've got on with him, and everyone else is just everyone else. Hey, Munchie. But no, I remember like when I met your mum, we went round her house. I think for dinner. Was it dinner or was it just round? Me, you, and Kate.
Around there.
It was a nice, welcoming or what have you. But like I feel like because I wasn't 100% invested as yet in that time, I could be more relaxed. You know what I mean?
It wasn't like, oh my god, do they like me? Like you were just taking it as it comes. Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
It is whatever it is, kind of thing.
I get you.
But it was nice. And literally, as we left, we were there for a while. His mum was super friendly and complimentary and what have you. And as we left, we got into the car. This is what he told me. Like a message came through to his phone, and his mum, what did she say? I absolutely love her. She's the one, or I don't know, words to that effect, or what have you.
No, when I first saw you guys, it must have been Insta, like when you was doing the Insta lives on a Sunday, I think. Was that the first time I saw you? I think so, yeah. And I just felt like, oh, like this is it. Like, no, I was happy still. Like, I felt like you had found someone that just matched you perfectly. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Did I finish what I was saying? I did, innit?
I don't know. You were talking about you have a lot of family that I haven't met yet.
Yeah, there is a lot.
You're not really connected to them.
Yeah, but I would love you to meet them in due time, innit? So it's been how many years? But yeah, I think that would be one of my goals to next year, to make sure I try and do that. But it's just like Jamal said, it's like my main focus is just that at the moment. And it's no disrespect to anybody. It's just like, that's all it is at the moment.
Listen, scripture say when a man get to an age, he's got to leave his house, find his woman and cleave.
Yeah, but
uncle,
maybe
aunt, friend,
people don't see it that. Not everybody sees it that way. You know, they feel you're being selfish. They feel that you're just being selfish and you do. You know what I mean? And it ain't me being selfish. It's literally my time is so limited, and I want to live that. I want to make sure that time is used effectively, and I don't want to be just giving it.
Time is a resource.
Yeah, and I think, but as family, we just do that back in the day. Go and spend that time at that house and Chan's very family orientated. She loves all that. Let's have the big barbecues. Let's have everybody around and that. And yeah, I love all that. But then it's just finding the time and convenience to do that and fit it in. Like I can't go and just jam in a family's house. I think them days are done. Before we could do that, but I don't know what's happened now. It's kind of a thing of, yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Sometimes we could just go around and jam at a friend or treasure's houses.
You see places like, I don't know if it's Sweden or Switzerland, they got like a free working day week. So the people then can earn the same amount that we'd probably earn here, maybe even more.
We need to move to Switzerland. No,
on the 3 days and then have the extra day or 2 days off. And they can invest in a personal business, family, all these things. They're happier, they're more productive at work, they have a side business, they make more money, the economy's stronger. It has a knock-on effect, but we're just on this,
you know?
Well,
it probably has a knock-on effect, or a good knock-on effect with their like, mental health.
Of course.
You see, the born of their society, isn't it? Like, everyone's in a better space.
You see the last 10 weeks, no, is it 10 weeks? Yeah, it's 10 weeks. So the last 10 weeks I've been doing a workshop. So I work Monday to Friday, and I do my workshop on Saturday. One time I hold my Sabbath, Tuesday as well, but Saturday is my Sabbath day for me to rest, relax, fast, hold my meds, reset my intentions for the week, whatever else I need to do, brain meditate, cool. And I ain't been doing it, or doing it to it's been disturbed. Yesterday was the first day I got to do it.
Okay.
And the way I just feel different, even, I like when you come in the house.
Yeah, your temperamen's been nice.
Because you see like a nut, it winds you up Monday through Friday. And then Saturday, you don't wind down. Sunday, you're winding down. And by the time you even start to feel a little tension release, it's Monday. It's Monday or Sunday, Monday, because that flash in your emails, site visit, problem. So,
no, that's calm. Now, you said last time, when you come off the pod last time, you said there's questions that you wanted to ask me and Shania, and you're like, I didn't ask, and there's so many. Do you remember that? Or you don't?
I didn't even come prepared.
That's cool. That's good then. That's good.
I've got questions. I do have questions.
But you haven't got it in you. You still been spitting bars and that. No bars and that. She said she retired. Yeah, good. You have them.
Anyway.
Alright,
I feel like we've answered some of them.
We've answered a lot. We've done a lot in that.
And I guess also a question that like I've been having to like think about within myself, not necessarily right now, but within the last couple of years, within the dynamic of having a blended family and within that blended unit having different dynamics, like your dynamic with the children, your dynamic with the children, and each of them and how they all interlink. How do you consciously make time for the personal relationship of you two?
Okay, wow, that is something we've had issues with. Because I'll always be like, if we're not working, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know? And he'll be like, about the kids. I said, all right, you stay there about the kids and see what that does with you and I. Because if we're not connected, like
this is what feeds everything else.
Basically, it trickles right down.
Yeah.
When we're loved up and feeling loved up and connected and, you know what I mean, in purpose and productive and, you know what I mean, doing all that stuff that I guess makes us feel fulfilled, the children feed off of it.
Yeah.
They pick up on it, like, without us even having to speak a word. You know what I mean? There'll be times where, like, I don't know, maybe just hugging up in the kitchen, whatever, and Kate will come down and be like, you know, whatever, like, jokey, but you don't realise, like, what that does. So you can see, like, mum and dad showing love and affection to one another. So, yeah, that's definitely an area that we still need work on. Because, yes, I do like doing, like, the whole family, you know what I mean, outings, you know, whether it's cinema or bowling or, you know, I mean, whatever it is. And obviously today's Sunday, so today generally is the day that we all sit around the dinner table and break bread. But yeah, it's losing that adult woman, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a mother.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? See me as that. I want to be desired, innit?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, yes, we have a new baby, and obviously the dynamics have changed again. But not forgetting, like,
we're still important.
We're still, and we came together, like, as in you and I. Yes, I mean, we didn't forget about the children. But it was you and I that we were first connected. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I gripe with.
Where's the time though? See, like when between having a marriage and actually being active in that marriage, having a job, having a business, having children, having to engage with them and find out what their emotional, spiritual, mental well-being is and how they feel about today and whatever, keeping up with the homework, having time to exercise yourself, to hygiene, and we haven't even read, eaten, cooked yet. Yeah,
clean.
There is time though. You make time.
I feel like we've got to be creative about how we make time. Do you know? And it's difficult.
Sleep.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
what's that? What is that? What is that? I don't know what that is. No, it is not. We do clash with that because at the end of the day, she says that's an important factor, and I get it. But then there's that. Once you, as much as we can say start at the top and then filter it down, there's still the other bits and pieces in between that don't help. And I said teamwork makes the dream work, innit? And that's got to be a thing that we've got to work on in terms of teamwork. Like, if that is the case, man, let's get pull up. If I pull up, you pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. Everything gets pull up in it. Like, nah, don't. Like, sometimes you might have to, like, with the family thing, I'm not in it. Like, if she don't organise it or put the date, I ain't doing it. Do you get what I'm saying? But she would do it and I'll muck in and get what needs to be done. So it's kind of a thing of, I'm all about the children. I always will be. No matter what way you look at it, I'm always going to be about the children.
It's about, like either or.
I just feel like we need to be intentional, about how we have husband and wife time. And I don't mean date night every week. I just mean, like, it could be something like watching a film or in the house date or whatever. Whatever it is. But just being intentional, and how can I explain it? Like, just protecting that time. Like, this is the time that we've set aside to do whatever husband and wife, even if it's just 2 hours of it evening, whenever it is, but we've set aside this time just to invest in us, because we do so much to invest in the family, which is needed, but also our relationship, like man and wife relationship, that investment is needed as well. Like,
of course.
Do you know what I mean?
No, of course. And there is time. Like, you make time for what is important, right? Or what you want to
100%.
100%. And it doesn't mean anything else has to give.
Yeah.
You know, it is all about I guess organising and prioritising and planning.
That's the main. That'll probably be the main thing. Because that'll be the main thing.
I don't have to answer. That's what I asked.
It's about. I always say to her, Sunday diary time. Like even on when we break bread on that.
Podcast.
Like, let's sit down. Diary, but it doesn't always work out to that way or form or fashion. But I always say family meetings diary is strictly important because we know where everybody is, where everybody's head is, where everyone's mindset is. Whatever I always make sure I send her an invite to all my things that I'm doing, so you're clear that I've got that. And if you want to put something in it, throw it in the diary, innit? Like, so I know, boom, that's the case. And I don't want to work that way, and I want to feel like it has to be that way.
No,
but
there's times where that's effective.
We have to be diary time. Much as it should be, sometimes it should be spontaneous, but
I guess that's what I was going to.
With my work ethic and what I do, and with what Shan does, it's not always gonna work that way. Do you get what I'm saying? So it is about delegating that particular time and saying, all right, you know what, this is the date we're gonna do something, and then stick to it, and then go with that, or even just, you know what it is. Sometimes you just gotta be. You see that way when you're in a fight. And you know the crowd's coming to you, they're about to come fight. And you go back to back here, then you see the provisions work, life starts to work different, you see things. So it's like, Shan, you got that? You got that. And that's what it's about. But if you're face to face and that, you ain't going to see, but you know what I'm saying? So it's about being back to back and knowing like, rah, this is that.
Yeah, but all the time.
What do you mean?
Like, what, I can't just get a 2 hours in the evening just to
No,
look at it.
I mean that is, but that means that's allowing that to do. By being back to back and seeing what's what, you can understand where everything is in it.
What you're referring to, Max,
Okay.
that kind of relationship is comradeship. And a lot of people don't have that in relationships. Like, these are the kind of relationships that we have where
Yeah, I feel like
our
we
partner
have
is our
that in our
comrade.
relationships, yeah.
But a lot of relationships, like, you may be in a relationship with someone, you may like the person, you may like you may be attracted, but it's not necessarily you're going to go back to back. You wouldn't psychologically refer to them as that because they don't feel like the person, I have to protect us. Do you know what I mean? Where you're thinking of comradeship as we're working together towards a common goal.
No, and I think it's important to have that comradeship, and that's what creates the success of our relationships, right? Like teamwork, having that unit. But in that though, it's important for me to feel like I'm romanticized.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And to have that time to be your wife and to love on you, and you have that time to love on me, and etc. etc. Do you know what I mean?
No, she complains about it. Love the loving thing. She complains about it, but enough times. But there's a level of different things that men take on that women don't see, and there's a level of what women see and that take on.
I agree.
So it's kind of a thing of sometimes we, as men, we be up here doing the most. It's about being pulled up and saying yo, boom, 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 and literally it's having them sometimes it's about having them. Me and Sham will always have them uncomfortable conversations,
It's important.
dirty conversations where we try to get clean at the end of it or whatever it is, and we pray on it moving forward. But it's literally day to day making sure you pull up each other on what it is and what's that. And
my whole thing is like, obviously we both work for ourselves, and I'm just like, the advantage of being able to work for yourself surely must be that you can use your time as you see fit.
Yeah.
And alright, yeah, we do complete different businesses, and like Max's business and other stuff that he does ad hoc, you know what I mean, like the DJing or hosting, what have you. And I'm just like, I don't want to just fit in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I do like spontaneity, but aside from that, I do want to feel like
it was intentional. Yeah, I get you.
Like, I want to feel like a woman. I want to feel like, you know what I mean, I'm your woman. And yeah, that sometimes is a bit of a bugbear. Because I don't. You know what I mean, normality or whatever, or what do you call it again? When it's like not mundane.
Oh, like day-to-day mundane.
Like day-to-day stuff. Like I got no qualms with all of that, but in the mix of that, like I like to break up the week a bit sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that could just be family stuff as well. Like, all right, let's just quickly go for a random trip to the dessert place, or you know what I mean, whatever. But also, as in us as one too, because I don't, you know, like when you see certain couples that they've been together years and years, but they're not really together.
Yeah, they don't really like each other. They're not really connected. They're
like,
not.
It's like gone a long time. They can't even pinpoint where it's gone.
Yeah.
Like I'm all about that fire,
that connection.
That
I get you.
No, 100. Nah, it's all work in progress, and at the end of the day, I'm always happy to be a student. You get me, and learn, and in any way, form or fashion. But this life that we're living and this world that we're living in, it ain't easy. Like it's proper. And then if we don't have integrity, put God first and certain things, it's just gonna be a whole like the big up. I was at Kemi. I went to a thing called where's that thing? Oh, what was it called? Prescription for.
Go watch the thing in the kitchen.
Oh, where? Prescription for healing.
Oh, okay.
So Kemi done an event where it's and the amount of people, whole time Maxwell D, he was on there. He spoke about his life, that was quite deep. And Stanley Jack, I can't remember his name, oh, that's bad. And about the inner child that's been fighting all this time. And we've got all these inner childs in us that are going through trauma and going through so much thing, and we don't take time to listen to that little inner child that's gone through the most. Sky, come out the way.
Or whatever. And how the inner childs relate to each other.
Yeah.
That's something I had to learn is how our inner childs relate to each other. That how us as adults relate to each other.
Even that as well. Imagine that you got to communicate that inner child.
Yeah.
But then you got that person's got to reflect on that. And I only learned that yesterday. I mean, like fresh yesterday. Like there's this inner child in us that is fighting for attention.
Yeah.
And wants to be listened to, but we just don't got time to listen.
Yeah,
So as well as we're doing that, we've got to obviously show the love, show what we've got to do in that sense. And it's a constant battle, and it's important that we have to, as in relationships, it's constantly that we have to communicate, have them uncomfortable conversations. Yeah, quality time is a must. It's just working at how it works, how making sure it's good to have some spontaneous or whatever. But see, when you're a person that works for yourself, me personally, my worst fear is to, I don't like to even use the word, the B word, I don't like to be using it. I don't want to ever be in my life to not have,
Oh, that's
ever. Yeah, man don't ever want to, man don't want to ever.
Say I knew the word.
Yeah, man don't want to ever. And so that's me, I'm always in that thing of, if I can get it, I'm going to get it, innit? Like, that's me, I'm going to get it. I don't want anybody to today it felt good, but I can just go, sort out the tyre on that car, sort out the tyre on that. You know, every car tyre that we've got today is gone. My car tyre's gone, this car's tyre gone, so I've got like, boom. I need that, I need this, I need to change this. Just to be able to do that is important to me, to be able to do that.
I get that.
Above most things in my head, I think, to be able to provide. But the grand scheme of it, it's all about that peace being in the house and just making sure everything's just to it is.
Two things on that, yeah. Enough of the things that we do as adults are as a result of those things, issues that happen to that inner child. So, say for example, a thing that Pooh don't like is to never have an empty cupboard. It's the same kind of thing. I don't like to have an empty cupboard. It makes me feel, because even if I ain't got no money in my pocket, I'm going to my house, I know there's food there. Do you know what I mean? And when the things start to get low, I'm not even planning to eat it. But then I'll start eating anxiously because just out of a thing of, do you know what I mean? But something's happened to make...
To have that response to it.
Yeah. And oftentimes as parents, we parent our children how we want our inner child to be parented, but the child might not necessarily need that.
They're a completely different child.
Yeah, we've had to learn that. We've had to learn.
So sometimes it's good for you to give your children the things that you didn't want to have. That's part of being a parent. But sometimes your child don't need that. Like maybe even, like sometimes we might not need what we got from our parents, but that might be good for you to pass it onto this. You know what I mean? But it's knowing yourself.
And I guess parenting the child in line with who they are.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And dealing with your own wounds so you don't bleed all over everyone else. You know?
So obviously we don't want to do a part 3, but we want to obviously bring it back on. Nah, I don't. I want to do something different, you know, like that. So we will chop it up differently in that. So if anybody got any ideas, try and come talk to us in it. But to anybody that, from a male perspective, let's start with the males. From a male perspective, entering into a blended situationship. Or blended family, no, that's what I'm to say. Blended family.
Before you, I've just got one more question.
Oh, you got a question?
Yeah.
Oh no.
So, but I feel like I'm probably going back to the beginning. So, before being with Ashanti and you were with the previous, the most recent mother of kids, how was she with your other children?
Oh, wow.
She was quite...
You can't answer that because you're there. You read there, but
well, you know, second hand.
Yeah, in theory, like she was quite supportive or quite engaging. She wasn't anti anybody. Like to this day, they'll see each other in their amicable and everyone's cool. So yeah, yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so it's never been an issue as such for you in regards to having a new relationship and how they've been receptive to your.
There probably was an issue primarily in the early, but that's because. Well, I can't speak on anyone else's expectations, but when I'd moved on. I don't know if everyone else felt the same way or whatever. Like I just got to a point, and where I was at the end of my field. And generally, I haven't really done that. Like more time, I stayed in relationships because I didn't grow up with my dad. And they weren't trying to repeat the cycle. So a long time after I might have mentally checked out or whatever, I'm trying to maintain obligations, stay in places where I'm not happy, not wanted, maybe whatever. But in that time, I was just like, ciao, man. I need to move, man. Like, this is too much. So, but yeah, she recently had a child of her own. Do you know what I mean? And we're all kind of we're at peace now. So it's kind of working now. So it's like, yes, it's nice.
Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time and...
Time is the all things like that.
But the thing is, when you're thinking about your child and you're thinking, rare, my child's they're 3 now. It might take 5 years, 10 years. They'll be 70. You're thinking on that short time span. But life,
what's happening to my child in that space of time? Am I going to be able to help unravel?
And you will have to go through a lot of that with them and redo it or pay for therapy or whatever, or have tough conversations or whatever, but it will fix itself. But in that time, maybe you could miss your child growing up while people are going through healing.
You have to then work on yourself in that space of time. So you're in, because I feel like it's very important. Like, you see, like what I've heard a lot in your time, both of you, but I'm just saying it in a man's sense, is not a lot of men or enough men really proper like examine themselves. Like as far back as they possibly can. You're talking about like the inner child or have you, and obviously I mean you do like some of like networking events and what have you, and you know what I mean, they're important too, and I feel like more men need to open up their minds, I guess.
It's not even open up the mind, it's like peel back the layers like the onion.
Yeah, like an onion.
Just keep pulling back them layers, right? You're never gonna get to the core. Anybody say don't keep thinking you're gonna get right to the core. But it's important that you evolve. That's why I always go about it, evolve to evolve. It's all about evolving and peeling back them layers. Yeah, you might cry and get thingy.
You gotta have a safe space to do that though. Because if you don't have that safe space, you're gonna do that and then be vulnerable and then be
That's
triggered
why therapy is important.
Therapy is important. Therapy is important. I'm a big advocate of therapy.
Back in, was it 2015? 2016 maybe? I was doing a workshop for dads for that very same reason. But I had to stop because just as I kind of felt rare, man's killing it with this dad thing. Life just started getting real, and I couldn't be. I felt hypocritical. Come on, guys, let's do a dad workship, and I've got work as a dad that needs to be done. So I just had to kind of back to what I was saying of minding your own. Like, I was trying to save the community, but your own house is falling apart brick by brick.
No, that's it's a whole. It's not a bad or good thing, but you can rebuild and come back again, innit? And I feel like I'm strong enough in my where I am to be there for the community a little bit, not too much.
What it is, Max, is for everyone to take a little piece. See, if everyone takes a bit of accountability, remember that thing when we was in school and you lift up the person with 2 fingers? Well, then take a fist.
And that's what me and Shan were talking about in the last pod. Just if someone I was talking about the example of the pod that's out today now, where the kids was smoking on the road and walking past, and it's just only a little 15-year-old and he's smoking, acting a fool. But I was saying like, oh, look at you though, you look weird with it in your head, it don't suit you. And the other kids are like, yeah, he's been dumb in it, But he got stopped at that one road 10 times by saying the same thing. He probably might have an impact. But it was only me and the rest of them, like everybody else was like, did the youths them doing stupid. It's 100%.
Everyone does their part.
A little bit,
Right, on that point then, in the now, like you're saying that you're willing to do a little piece, I'm willing to do a little piece. If people like that have resources like a space or something like that, or there's other dads interested in getting involved, or like Max and Chan.
Just do that, innit?
Yeah,
just do this, innit?
No one's gonna take.
Got the space as well, like the centre.
There we go. No one ain't gonna take full responsibility.
Wait. Don't say it on here, because I want people to stick on hollering. But no, we're gonna do that anyway. And I'm telling Shan I want to do a safe space for Mandem, just to build and keep it.
So people have facility skills, resources, anything that you could bring to the team.
No, 100. Let's do that, man.
There you go.
No, let's do that. But no, just on the blended family thing, just to kind of like seal it up and that. So people that are going, like men that are going, we talk for the men first. So the men, like men that are going into, let go of the thing. Come here. Men that are going through, about to approach or in it or whatever way that is it. What advice could you feel you could give based off what you've been through? For men that are in blended relationships, that makes sense. Hope that makes sense. That makes sense. Just advice, just advice, really.
The main thing, just not just men, everybody is try not to be reactionary. Like try to sleep on correspondence and things like this. Take a moment, or even let the person know. Right, I'll get back to you. Do things in writing. Like a lot of this personal face-to-face stuff, where the emotions are still raw and the nerves are still sensitive. People do a lot of knee-jerk reactionary stuff, which doesn't really. So as a man in this, a lot of time we have to be. Do you know what I mean? You can't afford to be, if everyone else is emotional reactionary, you're going to be the same but aggressive. It's only going to be destructive. Also think about what you want at the situation and then measure up what is at exchange. Because often things in the now you're going to do it and then regret. So if you just think about what is your end goal and then what steps you can take and what is too far for you to go to get that. So is it rare? I want to see the kids once a week, or she ain't offering that. So what could? Do you know what I mean? Everyone's got a different level and a different cut-off point, but just think mainly focus on your end goal, and that will kind of see you through, as opposed to feeling you've been done wrong, or all these are back to what we were saying earlier about taking it personal.
Yeah.
We're gonna feel it because we feel entitled to it. It's our child.
Yeah, it's very easy to get caught up in that.
But it's not helping you.
No.
You know what I mean? You're not even necessarily wrong, but right or wrong kind of comes out the window. It's just about what's best for the scenario and what you can do to contribute to get what you feel is best for it.
I'll just, one thing I'll say is patience. Like, I think some people roll in there like a ball in a Chinese thingy. So I think I was like that, like, right. I think I still kind of do that now. I think I've slowed down a little bit now. But before, at the start, I think I was like properly, right, Chan, shook sharp, no, I've got that.
That's
and I think that was even
and expectations.
Yeah, same.
And it's not bad to have intentions and expectations, because you're not going to be able to make nothing without an intent. And without expectations, there's no standards. But you have to understand that it's not you one riding this ship or leading this ship. You know what I mean? So it's just like you said about that patience. If any correspondence, I'd sleep on that. Every and all. Like, make that a rule. And if people are used to knowing that, alright, you'll get back to me. Just might not be today. You're not always on that knee. What?
Finger warrior.
Yeah. Tomorrow when you wake up, you read it and you will see what has actually been said. You will look beyond the hype or the triggers and okay, she wants to. Can I give that? Yeah. All right. Actually, no, that's not for. And then explain that. Give her reasons. You know what I mean?
No, that's
100. What about from a female's perspective, like females that are in blended families? How do you lot? What advice would you give?
What advice would I give?
Don't rush.
And you can't second what we just had as well. Don't do the second now.
But it's
Jacob is still with it. 100%.
I don't know, like.
Because you're obviously you're giving a lot of advice anyway, so that's probably why it's a bit thingy, but probably like, summarise it then, I
guess it's difficult to give advice, but I'd say that for myself in hindsight, I don't even know.
If you had to go back again and relive the whole thing again, what would you do different? Would you do anything different? Or would you...
I would, as I said at the beginning, I would have had more compassion.
Oh yeah,
I would have had more compassion, and I would have dealt with the whole, like, how can I explain it?
You Western Shan does that as well, you know. What is it with that explaining thing you do?
I would have put my ego aside in certain situations, and just dealt with things from my heart. Like, I'm quite a heart person. Like, I don't really, like 9 times out of 10, I don't really care about the ego stuff. If I feel to call you and tell you, I love you, you know, I'm just gonna do that. If I feel to, even if we ain't spoken and we got a problem and I feel to just call you and tell you I miss you, I'm just gonna do that, innit? So in certain situations, that level of heart that I have could have benefited us more in certain situations, rather than me taking up the no, we're not taking no violation, you know, rather than taking that stance and letting my ego rise up in certain situations, wishing I dealt more with my heart in that. And I'm hurt because I want to see these kids too, or I'm hurt because but ultimately it's the kids that are at the that we should be focusing on. So we should all be able to put our ego aside and say, okay, well, what are we doing? Do you know what I mean?
Best for...
So just live it, being more in my heart and not my. I don't know. I felt like I was super in my ego, but.
That sounds like.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
No, but that's a good one because there's two contrasts. What Raggo saying to what you're saying is that sleep on it, but then you could, and then the other thing is lead a different way, love.
And I guess as well, like. For me, it's easy for me to lead from my heart. But you see, when you love someone, you see them going through hurt and drama and people violating them and disrespecting them. I'm ready to on-site anyone. What are we doing? Let's go. So to see him going through certain things, it was hard to think from my heart and not think, what are you telling? What happened? Do you know what I mean? So I don't know, man. It's just it's a lot, innit? Just do the work on yourself. That's the most important. Do the work on yourself, and everything else that comes from that should be goodness.
Even if it does look selfish.
Do the work on yourself.
See, real quickly on what you said about if you could do anything different, it would be to set boundaries, voice boundaries. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of time I will turn around and suffer in silence because you care or because you love or do. But you can only hold your breath for so long. And then when you explode, you're like a madman. You've never voiced that. You was in discomfort. So everyone's like, what? Kind of thing. So just sometimes you could have good relationships with people if you just let them know, look, you're crossing the line, bro. And you don't have to say. And that some of it comes back to childhood things of not having healthy expressions of anger or being permitted to voice it like, that's, like you're being rude or you're making me look bad or whatever. But the point is, as an adult,
I like that.
now knowing that rare, actually just saying, no, that's not cool.
Raggo's been dropping that. You know, I'm going to have to watch him back a couple of times and both of you, but Raggo especially, I've just been literally just not hitting him. But no, like as for myself, like obviously bringing another man into my family and whatnot. Obviously, I had to remove any form of like, people are going to be judgmental or what have you. We got three girls especially as well. You know what I mean? If we're getting bringing a new man, you know, can't you just stay single forever long? People think you're going to stay single for whatever. But my whole thing is like, I was happy single. I weren't seeking or looking for anything outside of that. And in all fairness, you know what I mean? Yes, I probably still had healing processes going on when we, you know what I mean, connected, but I had already dug deep prior to that. But then obviously when we came together now and then Cade, because normally you don't really think a man's child or children is going to come and live with you. You know what I mean? That weren't really on my head. And it happened, I don't know, I can't even, it happened in a, like Cade was just here all the time, but he was sleeping in the front room. Like this literally became his bedroom after a certain time. And then point where like his mum was like, nah, I can live with you, kind of thing. And that was a bit of a thing for me, especially as a woman, because I was like, bro, like, I ain't even met this woman. She ain't met me, like, she don't know me from Adam, like, and Max was more like, well, she must have done her research or whatever, or she must be just trusting my judgment call, you know, or she must have spoke to maybe the eldest son, and for him to feel out, you know, the dynamics in the home situation and what have you. And then obviously we had a conversation, and for me it's a no-brainer. Well, he's here anyway, and if we're gonna actually do this with intention and what have you, then you know what, then it's so be it, kind of thing. And you
see what you said about the trust in the thing. That's a lot of the time why you're so uncertain or shaky, or see what I said about not wanting to leave relationship, because you look at where you was at that time, and if it was good, then you can kind of be a bit. The person's a reflection of your decision. So if it was a good decision or you was at a good place, then you're a bit more like, you might not be happy about things.
But if it was in like a bad place,
it leaves you on edge because you knew that I was making that decision under, or whatever. That was back when I was doing and it makes you then, and regardless of the person, is that seat that they operate, because they was in the passenger seat when you was driving and you was a madman. At the time, they're like, why would you get in the car with me? And so that plays on your mind, and whereas I guess that trust is there, and that's why it's more important. We think about relationships as in what we're doing now. We don't think about the fallout, or you're not thinking about, well, when we get divorced, or when we fall, or when we separate, or co-parent. You don't think about any of that. You think about. I
didn't think like, oh, we're free, but like, I felt like if we had a child and it didn't work, we'd make amazing co-parents. But I didn't want it not to work. I wanted to be with you. Do you know what I mean?
That's why I love you, because they're very logical and thought out and down the line. But most people don't think about their car crashing when they buy their car. Do you know what I mean? They don't think about it being written off for my insurance. Then they'll put through the claim or whatever. But that's for the worst case scenario. And that's the problem. That we don't think enough about the worst case scenario or plan.
Not trying to manifest it. We need to keep it like have.
Because I wouldn't really want to.
You don't want to speak it into existence. You don't want to.
You don't consider it.
But you have to weigh. It would have crossed your mind at some point. You can't just dash it away and say that's an impossibility, because there is a even if it's minute, there is a possibility.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of my relationships, I was in circumstances and I'm like, Rare, you're talking to that person mad. You don't talk to me like that. An ego. Like, Rare, because I want to, and me, because I'm special until the day that the sun falls on you and you're like, like, so we can, but because we're leading with ego rather than being logistic about the situation or realistic.
Yeah. No, most of the time it's taking emotions out of the equation. Like feelings come and go. And like you said, when you said about sleeping on something, you look at it with different eyes. And sometimes it's reading in between what is actually being said. Like, where is this actually coming? Like, this person's struggling right now, and that's why it's coming across a little. Because also the tone is taking in the tone of a message.
But then if you, especially in a message, like if you're reading the message and you're already in an irate state, you're gonna read the message with tone and iration. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you sleep on it,
your voice,
right. That sleeping on it, seeing it with fresh eyes, calm down, you know, lower blood pressure.
Even in relationship to the person.
Do you
know what I mean? Like oftentimes I don't remember much. Do you know what I mean? I remember sentiment, and so say you might upset me. I'm not gonna stay upset with you forever, but when your name rings my phone, it might ring red. Like, or it might be green, or it might be. Do you know what I mean? Because you relate to that. So when you see that thing, that person's moved on. They weren't even upset. You didn't voice it with them. Do you know what I mean? But they're like, and you're like, this chicken. So you know, it's all that other stuff to consider.
No, 100.
Okay, so moving forward, then what it's about? You said patience, honesty,
sleep on it,
take time,
not being reactionary,
being reactionary,
being proactive.
No, what was that? What is it? What did you say, my?
Not being reactionary.
Yeah, it was not being reactionary.
Trust.
Sleep on it. Trust.
And I guess what I was saying is doing the personal development work on yourself. So it's easy to work
all the
with
time,
people.
like, all the time.
Not just for this situation, just in life. Do you know what I mean? But it definitely contributes.
And also I like putting there, cause I was learning it only yesterday, in terms of Kemi's thing, which was really good in terms of like set goals, innit, like couple goals. Sit down and do couple goals, innit, like small ones. Like not that big. It could be little small ones. Like for example, we know we need to set more time for ourselves. So you said, all right, how can we do that? Boom, boom, boom. Simple.
That was one of our goals last year.
Yeah, a day night every month.
Yeah,
and we've more or less done it.
Yeah.
So that's what setting goals and achieving them and ticking them off. Go on, and you lot.
No, I love that. But you know, you say teamwork makes the dream work, and it's knowing that you're on the same team. We don't need to be fighting like against each other. Actually, one of my friends gave a tip. She said, when you're going through a situation, like no matter how big or small, but if it's something that's a little bit tricky, when one speaks, the other has to write what they hear, and vice versa, and then come back, because sometimes when we're speaking, what you're receiving is not.
You mean the notebook words?
Whoa, shots!
No, I'm saying like if I'm like I talk a lot, innit? Like
You have to do voice note and then record it and then literally then write voice on the voice note. Record. Oh man, that'd be long.
Another thing was that see what we said about that we just gave ourselves a high five because we didn't recognise that we'd achieved that goal.
Acknowledging.
You got to acknowledge.
Celebrate their win.
Yeah. And oftentimes where we're looking at like back to what I said, whether it be saving the community, whether it be having a Jay-Z Beyonce wedding, whether it be hitting up the release of Wakanda Forever on the red carpet, whatever your goals are. But whereas when you're looking at these big things, you never recognise the small things that make it work.
Because the small things that make the big thing
allow it to happen.
Like,
pave the way.
Like, it's all relevant. It's all relevant. I don't dismiss like anything. I try and be as present in the moment as I possibly can, even if the outside might see it as insignificant or not, like, and I'm trying to be more mindful of that rather than I'm constantly looking ahead to that cray over there.
How does that fit with Max? Because Max is quite ambitious.
He's quite over there person.
He's a man that's got a man with a plan. He's always working.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's why they're teamwork, dreamwork. I've got
you're facing that way.
I've always got to understand. Yeah, that's it. I'm saying. So we got to understand each other. And
also balance as well, though.
You have to. Because if I don't move forward, if I don't see progression or I see something like we see the future. Most of us man them can actually see what's gonna happen. Like see a situation and know it's gonna pop off. I'm always with that. And Shannon's just gotta pay homage to that most of the time. Same I've gotta pay homage to what her needs. And my ambitious thing, I've calmed it down a bit more. But I don't want to stop that because going to an event yesterday, it's fueled me up again, innit? It's made me know that.
You're ambitious again.
Yeah, I'm ready again. Like, I've got to do. You get me? Like, man wants to go back into motivational speaking and that. Like, I was sitting there and saying, I was like, this is me. I'm about that life.
All right.
You get what I'm saying?
I guess as well. Sorry, hold on 1 second. I guess like having the balance of like, say for example, Shan might be the more present one, and you might be the one that's more in the future. But certain times within that, saying, all right, cool, I'm gonna come into Shan's world today.
That's
or
it.
Shan
That's
saying,
what
all
I
right,
mean.
cool, I'm gonna go to Max.
But it's about us bringing each other. We have to pull each other.
Right, having that ultimate balance, you know.
One thing that I've had to see, like in that still phase, where I'm not always, because this is what will happen. I'll sit still, I'll be anxious. I'll go to one event, I'll go to one thing, I'll get so inspired, I'll get gassed, I'll come home, I'll start 900 missions again or whatever. Yeah. So we catch on to things, and then we burn on that. But once we burn it through, it's kind of anticlimax. So I'm trying not to catch on to nothing, sit my ass still. And with that time, I learned that as much as I'm used to being the centre of things, I'm actually a good supporting act.
Yeah, you are.
Do you know what I mean? You see, like, everyone wants to be the boss of the mafia. No one wants to be the consigliere. That's like the little Paulie or the other guy that takes the orders and makes the calls and whatever. But it don't work without structure. 100%. And back to what I was saying about seats is just because you play this role today doesn't mean you can't transfer roles. But to be a good soldier is to be a good general is to be a good cadet.
Whatever position is required.
I feel like anything in life that I want to achieve, it could be something as far-fetched as I want to be an astronaut and go to Mars, and you'll be like, alright, Pooh, what do you need me to do? And then you'll be like, alright, cool, say nothing, I've got my end. Like, whatever you need to do, I've got that end. And then wherever I'm like airside, I'm quite flighty, I'm quite, I can move on to things quite quickly, and I don't necessarily have to finish the first thing. He's a person, once he starts, he's got to finish. So even if I know, okay, my attention span's not the greatest, he's going to get us to the end of the mission. Or like, he's going to...
How do you respect that element of it? Because as much as he might, because you've lit his light, you lit the thing. He's now doing the most, but you're not. You're not.
No, I appreciate it because I know that it's something that I don't not that I have an ability to do it, but it doesn't come natural to me. So I appreciate that I can tag him in, and then he can gonna go, and then he can tag me back. Like say for example, I'll be the organizer, but then he'll be the one to dot the pieces, or he'll be the one to finish the mission, or. So I appreciate that the difference is in us because it gets the mission at hand done.
And you work
do you know
to
what I mean?
Contrast.
Like we work to our strengths and everything gets covered. Do you know what I mean? So I appreciate that.
I see that within us. I think that whole be still when you feel like something's not happening. My whole thing is, even if you don't see it, doesn't mean nothing's not happening.
No, that's the problem, because I can't see. Tons of things are happening. But I'm just in my house like, what's happening? What is going on? So it's just to be able to accept that things
certain seeds have been planted, marinated.
I'm there poking the soil. Come on!
Is it growing? So need more water. You want it 7 times from its fire.
Listen.
No, it will bloom up into all its glory in due season. Like Max can sometimes take on so many different things, and I'll just be like, yo, like that's too much.
Because it's in the gaps of waiting for other things to happen, so we don't feel idle. Alright, on to the next one. Because once the energy's got, like once it burns out, I might not have no more energy left. So when I've got it, let me do it. But then it leaves, it's like a computer, you leave all these windows open, sooner or later it's going to crash. So I'm just learning to kind of decipher and discern through what windows are worth to keep opening or which ones are worth returning to. And it's even been good because, this window! Because I've had 9,000 windows open. This is like window 2,392. So, and you find other investments you started which need watering or pruning or growing or, do you know what I mean? But it's just having that time to kind of in perspective where you're not in the forest looking at the trees.
Yeah, because I know me, and I know there's only so much that I'll lose my mind if I try to take on half the stuff. I'm just like, you can't keep up.
Yeah,
and sometimes he starts getting forgetful,
Mm.
you know, and because it's just too much. He's trying to remember and recall and, oh, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, and I've got to be here, and I've got to be there. And sometimes he may not even be doing anything, but I can just see his head. Just like...
Chatting to him.
Like, and I'm like, yo, hi, like, I'm here, kind of thing, you know? Like, yeah.
No, I get you.
No, we're gonna I think the next pod is being about couple goals.
Yeah, like
couple goals, relationships and that. I think we're going like that. But do you want to pick up anybody on there? Anybody free? My man, anybody?
Just pick up. You lot, thank you for having us.
Thank you for
like more than just like
you lot trying to coordinate as well. Look at them trying to coordinate.
I know.
Like, it was totally accidental. Like it was totally accidental.
Was it accidental?
Yeah, totally accidental. But like more than just podcasts, just real life. Like you guys are really a real life representation of, you know, this life that we're trying to live. You know.
Yeah, no, we're trying to just get true in it.
No.
Like, holding on.
I'll tell you lot, thank you for support and yeah, it's I can't even thank you lot enough for what you lot have been helping me with, and you know what I mean, man. I could turn like just the other day when I just had an idea and just turned it, made it into be.
No. Max,
but you know what it is? It's just it's that like stop it. Like it's random. Sometimes I have to just like I've got an idea in my head. And
it's fire. There's a spark.
I have to spark it, and I don't want to. Sometimes I don't want to spark it because I know it can cause what it can lead to. But the amount of black fathers that got touched through just coming to your yard, making it happen. You just believing in what it is, and then you not coming on the remix, and then
you didn't let me come on this remix. I've got bars, innit?
And another one.
I've got the text. I've got the text. You said I've retired.
Yeah, because...
Perfect. I don't want to hear no more now. Done. But now, big up...
Talking of that, retirement, my last album, first of the first of 23. God MC3 Resurrection, my 9th and last is completion of all my last work. Get that, man.
You want to go number 10?
Yeah, that's weird. 9's weird, bro.
Yeah, you want number 10.
No, 9's the completion. See that when you got money and you fold it over with the 50? When you get to the
9 and the...
10 is just a rubber band to wrap it up, really. Like,
no, don't you fold over with the 10?
Whatever it is you fold
over with the 10.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
It makes it like 500.
Don't wrap your shit when it comes to the money. Please don't mess with my money.
It's the rubber band that wraps it up, do you know what I mean? So like 10 don't really exist. It's just 9 and then another set of... Do you know what I mean?
No, it's not. It's 10.
No, it's 9 is the highest
Let
order.
him retire in peace, man.
9 is the highest order, man.
No, it's been a blessing just to have you on the... I hope it will transform into something else. You get me? Because the Logics, the big cakes, all them, you're one of the legends in the game. So let's hope that people just give you your flowers and promote and push it, and I'll be pushing it. And any videos, you know, I'm there.
I'll feature on
cameos.
That's gonna be sick.
What's she in the back? Now shut up! Turn the music down.
I want the skits.
You're the skits.
I'm made
You're not even on there. There's no way you're on there. I know it will put you on there.
What?
But,
Can I get a feature?
it's done. It's done. The album's done.
You can leave a good.
And it's done.
We want to do what's it like? Puffy and Mason, Timberland and Missy, you know?
Yeah.
Being around the world.
Yeah.
Being around the world.
Thank everybody for listening. Subscribe. Maybe you want to say anything. Naturally, outro it, innit?
What's the outro?
Whatever you want to outro, innit?
I always think of your outros and I can't think
Alright, pick up yourself now.
Oh, wait, yeah. All of that. Love and light people.
That's boring. Why do you say that
It's
one?
not boring. It's needed.
The balance.
Alright, love and light people.
Don't even take my voice. I can't do your 365 rock wide.
No, it's 95, 365, Brockwide.
Right, 95, 365 rock wide.
Inside.